Have you ever looked in the mirror and noticed the fine lines around your eyes, or the way the evening light catches the dust in your living room, and felt that everything was exactly as it should be? Imagine that feeling of peace. Now, imagine that in exactly 24 hours, every single thing you see, the mirror, the dust, the walls of your home, and even the air you breathe, will be transformed into a hellscape of beginnings. Today, Tim is not just telling you a history lesson. I am taking you back to August 5th, 1911, to walk the streets of a city that is living its very last normal day. In the next minutes, we will peel back the layers of time to reveal the secrets of Hiroshima that the history books often leave out. We will follow a 11-year-old girl named Yoko as she lays out her clothes for a Monday morning she will never see. We will stand on the T-shaped WWII bridge and watch children splash in the river, unaware that this very bridge is already the crosshairs for a weapon that will change the definition of human cruelty forever. Why was Hiroshima spared from firebombing for years? What were the crew members of the Enola thinking as they loaded a B-Nenton uranium secret onto a plane named after a mother? Stay with me until the final minute. The truth of what happened in those last 24 hours is more haunting than any fiction you've ever heard. It is Sunday morning in Hiroshima. The air is thick with the humid, oppressive heat of a Japanese summer, with temperatures already climbing above mics. People are waking up to a world of wartime rationing, but for a brief moment it feels almost peaceful. There are no sirens today. No WWII are humming in the distance. Unlike Tokyo or Osaka, which have been reduced to charred skeletons by American firebombing, Hiroshima remains oddly intact. The residents whisper about it. Some say it is because so many locals immigrated to America. Others believe the Americans are saving the city for something special. They are right, but their imaginations cannot possibly grasp the horror of that special fate. Let's look at the city through Tim's eyes. WWII rivers flow through Hiroshima like silver veins, crossed by dozens of wooden bridges. The houses are made of wood and paper, fragile, beautiful, and terrifyingly flammable. In the temples, women in kimonos pray for their sons fighting across the Pacific. Old men tend to their sweet potato patches in small gardens, fighting a silent battle against hunger. Among them is Yoko Moriwaki, a 11-year-old student. She is not in school today because it is Sunday, but her mind is already on tomorrow. Japan has mobilized everyone. Tomorrow, Monday, August 6th, Yoko and thousands of other children as young as MIMT are scheduled to report to the city center. Their job to demolish wooden buildings by hand to create firebreaks. They will use their bare hands to tear down homes, clearing paths so that if the firebombs come, the flames won't spread. As Yoko writes in her diary this evening, she notes the weather, she notes her chores. She writes that she will work hard at the demolition site tomorrow morning. She is meters away from the Shima surgical clinic. She has no idea that in less than hours, that clinic will be the exact hypercenter, the point of impact. While the families in Hiroshima are finishing their modest evening meals of rice mixed with barley and pickled vegetables, a very different kind of assembly is taking place 8 miles away. On a tiny coral-fringed Pacific island called Tinian, the air is filled with the smell of aviation fuel and the sound of heavy machinery. This is the island of the Manhattan Project. Here, under high-security floodlights, American soldiers are loading a meter-long, BN-ton silver cylinder into the belly of a WWII bomber. The weapon is essentially a massive iron pipe designed to fire one piece of enriched uranium into another at incredible speed. The scientists call it Little Boy, a name that sounds almost innocent, even playful. But inside its cold steel shell lies many kilograms of uranium waiting to reach critical mass. Think of this bomb not as a weapon, but as a trapped sun. Once triggered, NEM will unleash energy so vast that the laws of physics themselves will seem to break. There has been no test for this specific uranium bomb. The scientists are confident, but the crew of the plane, a silver WWII named the Enola, does Kiin know the full details of the cargo they are carrying. They only know that their mission is different and that they must escape the blast radius within seconds or be consumed by the very thing they drop. Back in Hiroshima, it is now my GM. The strict wartime blackout is in full effect. The city is a sea of shadows. Every light that could guide a bomber is extinguished, leaving families to sit in the dim glow of a single candle. The summer heat makes sleep almost impossible, so people sit on their tatami floors, fanning themselves, talking about absent fathers and brothers fighting on distant islands. At the Shima Surgical Clinic, nurses move quietly between beds, tending to wounded soldiers. This building sits at the very center of the city. In less than hours, the bomb will detonate almost directly above this roof. Everyone here, the doctors, the nurses, the patients, is currently dreaming their last dreams. Do you feel the controlled panic of history here? On Tinian, the engines of the Enola Gay are beginning to cough into life. In Hiroshima, a mother is tucking her child into bed, laying out his school tools for a Monday morning that will never arrive. The clock is ticking toward Heibi Nememai Lemizugu Tinian time, the moment the Enola Gay will lift off from the Northfield runway. The weather report for Hiroshima has just come in, clear skies expected. In the world of Enola, clear skies was a blessing for farmers, but tonight is a death warrant for a city. It is Haiga Bememai Laman Sunning on Tinian Island. The silver engines of the Enola Gay roar into life, tearing through the tropical night. Colonel Paul Tibbets, only my years old, sits in the cockpit of the plane he named after his mother. Behind him, in the darkened bomb bay, little boy hangs silently in its cradle, a BN-ton secret that weighs more than just steel and uranium. N is a weight that will soon press down on the conscience of the world. As the plane lifts off, the crew is quiet. They have trained for months, practicing sharp M degree turns to escape a blast radius they still do fully understand. They are flying into a future that has no precedent. Back in Hiroshima, the first hint of dawn is appearing over the eastern mountains. August 6th has arrived. The sky is a pale, beautiful blue, the exact clear skies the American weather planes predicted. Imagine walking through the city at Beijing. Housewives are starting their laundry. The smell of wood smoke from breakfast fires drifts through the narrow streets. Soldiers are beginning their morning drills at Hiroshima Castle, a structure that has stood for Bay to Mununamemaisu years. At WWII, the air raid sirens wail briefly. People look up and see a single American plane passing high overhead. N is just a reconnaissance plane checking the weather. When the all-clear signal sounds at WWII to SIG, the citizens of Hiroshima shrug their shoulders. Nothing to worry about, they tell each other. They return to their work, their gardens, and their morning tea. But Tim wants you to look closer at the Ioi Bridge, that distinctive, shaped structure crossing the Honkawa and Motoyasu rivers. At this very moment, people are walking across it to reach their offices. They have no way of knowing that the bombardier on the Enola Gay, miles above, is currently peering through his Norden bomb sight, using this very bridge as his aiming point. Thousands of children, including MIB-year-old Yoko Moriwaki, have now reached their demolition sites in the city center. They are outdoors in the open with no protection and no shelter. They are clearing debris with their bare hands, preparing the city to survive a fire that will instead vaporize them in a millionth of a second. It is now 10 GMIB in Songi. The Enola Gay is BMI feet above the city. The bomb bay doors begin to creak open. In Hiroshima, a man stops to check his pocket watch. A child reaches for a dragonfly. A nurse at the Shima clinic adjusts a pillow. This is the information gap in its most tragic form. The city knows nothing, while the sky above it is about to turn white with a light brighter than a yin-en sun's. At exactly 10 Laman, the world as the people of Hiroshima knew it ceased to exist. The little boy bomb fell from the Enola Gay and plummeted toward the city center for agonizing seconds. And Dicky hit the ground instead and detonated to meters directly above the Shima Surgical Clinic to maximize the destruction. In a millionth of a second, a flash of light, whiter and brighter than anything ever created by human hands, filled the sky. Survivors later called it the Pika Dun, the flash bang. But for those at the hypercenter, there was no sound, only instant vaporization. Imagine the heat at ground zero. The temperature reached Enix, nearly as hot as the surface of the sun. Within nem meters of the blast, human beings were just killed. They disappeared. They left behind only their nuclear shadows, dark silhouettes etched into the stone steps of banks and the pavement of the Aoi Bridge, where the intense heat bleached the surrounding concrete but was blocked by their bodies for a fraction of a second. Thousands of children at the demolition sites, including Yoko Moriwaki, were among the first to die. Working outdoors with no protection, they were exposed to the full, unshielded power of the thermal radiation. By the end of that single second, 2 people were dead or mortally wounded. Then came the pressure wave. Traveling at kilometers per hour, crushed Hiroshima's traditional houses of wood and paper like they were made of dry autumn leaves. The Hiroshima Prefectural Industrial Promotion Hall, with a distinctive dome, was gutted and skeletal, yet remained standing, the only structure left near ground zero, and would become the most famous ruin in history, a silent witness to a Monday morning that turned into an eternal midnight. As the mushroom cloud rose human feet into the air, the Enola gay crew felt the shockwaves hit their plane like a giant baseball bat. They looked back and saw a city that had been replaced by a boiling cauldron of smoke and fire. But the tragedy was only beginning. For the survivors, the hibakusha, the black rain began to fall. Was radioactive soot and dust mixed with water vapor, and in their desperate thirst caused by the thermal burns, many drank unknowingly sealing their fate with radiation sickness. This was the last normal day. Kung-Won knew was coming, and that is the most haunting truth of all. History is filled with last normal days where people lay out their work clothes and make plans for a tomorrow that never arrives. History has a way of turning people into numbers. We talk about 10 in deaths in a second, or MT in by the end of the year. But Tim wants you to remember that these were just numbers. Every shadow etched into the stone of Hiroshima was a person who had a favorite song, a person who worried about their children, a person who had just finished breakfast and was looking forward to a cool breeze. We look at the skeletons of buildings and the bleached pavement and feel a profound sense of loss. Is a heaviness in the chest, a realization of how fragile our normal truly is. But Hiroshima's story did end in Menachem. Today, is a city of peace, a testament to the incredible human capacity for rebirth, and teaches us that even after the absolute darkest midnight, the sun will eventually rise again. We choose to protect Now I want you to think about your own tonight. Like the children of Hiroshima who laid out their tools and work clothes on August 5th, we all make plans. We assume tomorrow is guaranteed, but you knew that tomorrow would change everything. What would you do differently right now? Would you hold your loved ones a little tighter? Would you finally let go of that old grudge? Would you tell someone you love them? Wait for a tragedy to realize the value of your ordinary life. This journey back to MICM Ben Lam has touched you. Nen has reminded you of the preciousness of peace and the weight of history. Then please, take a small action now. Leave a comment telling Tim what is MT thing you are grateful for in your normal day today. I read every single one, and your words help build a community that values life over conflict. Press that subscribe button and hit the bell icon to join Tim in peeling back the next chapter of history. By understanding the last normal days of the past, we learn how to truly live in the present. And you think the tragedy of Hiroshima was the end of the atomic secrets. Wait until you hear about the pilot of the second bomb, who almost failed his mission over Nagasaki. That is a story of a near miss that could have changed history again, and we will explore in the next episode. Simen you for walking with Tim through the dust and shadows of MICN Ban Lomam. Until the next slice of history, cherish your today.
What a beautiful afternoon along the river.
Yes, it is very peaceful today.
A reminder to cherish ordinary life.